Greetings. So I just wanted to go over a bit about how my final project's looking and what students are kind of expected of creating by the end of it. So I went back to the maps we created earlier in this year just because I think it lays it out in a way that's easily seen versus me going from screen to screen on my Google Classroom. So as you can see, the first week for my course is really just getting them kind of comfortable with online classes and also creating accounts. The second week they begin creating their own introduction videos, online profiles, things that are going to be beneficial later on and also help them later on in life. For example, creating a profile is very important. It's skills that they need, putting themselves forward, creating a sort of professional atmosphere. Week 3, they're going to begin to annotate different text that they're going to use. And they're going to also start working on commenting on each other's work. Because I find that a lot of students benefit more from their classmates telling them things than the teacher sometimes. Their classmates really put it in perspective for them, and it also gives them a viewpoint that's similar to their own versus mine, which is, oh, he's just the teacher. Yeah, he's important, but, I don't have to listen to him. Following that, this is where their projects begin to come together. They're going to be creating surveys, collecting data, going out into the school, into the community, finding out what people actually are looking for, what they actually want. Projects that will benefit the community as a whole, or the world. They're going to then outline their maps week 5. So they're going to start creating different maps and different graphic organizers that lay it all out for them. They're going to be looking at the benefits and challenges of whatever project, and I'm expecting them to have 3 or 4 ideas by this point. So by week 5, they're still in the idea phase. They've collected data, they started putting together their profiles, but they haven't really created anything yet. And week 6 for the first quarter is finding articles over whatever they've chosen so far and annotating those articles, just getting some ideas of what other people have seen and thought of in relation to that product at this time. Because a lot of students think, oh, this might be a great idea, but somebody else's might have already done it before, and they might already see the challenges or the benefits of that project. And for a lot of students, that might make them go, yeah, this is really what I want to do, or, ooh, maybe I need to think of this and think of a different plan. Quarter 2 is really where they start actually putting everything together, however. This week they're going to form into groups around week 2. But week 1 they're going to be creating digital posters, they're going to get student feedback, they're going to get my feedback, and then I'm going to either put them in groups or I might have them pick their own groups based off their topics. So their small groups are then going to pick a service project that they want to do. They're going to work with podcasts, they're going to work with digital posters, they're going to work with all these different digital tools that I'm going to give them. And by week 3, I expect to get a group outline to have them have actually picked out what positions they want to have, what jobs they want in their group. Timekeeper, I'm going to create a poster, I'm going to create a PowerPoint, I'm going to create the video, how they're all going to work together. So I want that in an outline form. And I'm going to give them a pre- and post-meeting slip, as well as expect to have a conversation with each group as a whole or individually. By week 4, they need to have their rough drafts done, and that will be turned into me, and I'm going to show you how I want things kind of turned in a minute here. But by week 4, I expect their rough draft. Week 5, they're going to then post their rough drafts so that their classmates can see it, and they're going to get comment sheets so that they can actually give constructive criticism on each other's projects. By week 6, that is the final bit of it. By that point, they're going to present them in class, whether it's a digital project or an oral project or whatever they're kind of thinking at the time. And then finally, week 7, I plan on having them create conference posters. For week 7, a conference poster is one of those big science posters, and to actually present them, to have them either around the school for students to look at, or actually have a night where people can come in, whether we get together with the art program and have a night where they show off their art projects and science posters and conference posters for this. And then quarter 3 and 4 would actually be putting on their projects. So my end goal is for these projects to be something that they can actually perform. So for example, in one of my posts I said, if you're really into helping marine life but the nearest ocean is 10 hours away, that project's not really feasible. However, you might be able to find something relating to that you can do. So by quarter 3 and 4, it will be actually putting on these projects that they've created so far. So for this, as I've mentioned before in my other posts, each week has a checklist and a module. The checklist, very basic. It's not anything I expect them to actually look at, but they can actually print this off or just have it on their computer, and as they finish things up, they can put like some sort of mark showing that they completed it. Or they could highlight it and say, oh, I need to come back to this. The actual module itself, excuse me, has a brief description of my expectations for that week, what we're doing, what sort of standard we're doing. So, for example, week 1 is pass-fail. And then it's broken up into the materials that they'll be using and the assignments. For the materials, there's an awful lot. In class, I'm going to definitely tell them which ones they need to look at, because I have posted some papers that have been put out that are around 20 or 30 pages. And I don't expect students to read 20 or 30 pages of an analytical paper that someone put out there, a college-based paper, but it might be something that someone's interested in. So that one I might say, don't worry about that one. If you want to look at it, you can. Otherwise, look at this one. That's why some of these have more than one link in them. And then there are assignments which just have the links to whatever they need to do that week. So for example, this one is create or share an annotation account. So pick one that works for you. Take a look at them all. Maybe one you like better than the other one. And then create a Blogger account. After that, students will be posting mainly to the class blog when their assignments are for each other to look at, and their personal blog that they will create for their group to use, so that I can actually log into that one and see that they're working at it, see who's actually logged in, and see where they're going and where they're thinking. But this one right here is for the class as a whole to comment on each other's work. And any work that is to be turned into me before anyone else can see will be going into the homework box. So I'll create a assignment or a question, and then students can turn that in. Other than that, like I said before, students can make comments directly on that week if they have any questions or comments that they would like me to look at, as well as any instructional videos that I might have created or have posted for them to kind of figure out what they're doing at the time. So how to annotate, how to make digital posters, let's talk surveys. All these videos are helpful, and they kind of go with the different skills that I'll be giving them. And my end goal is that starting with probably around week 3, every week that they work on works towards their end product. I expect my students to decide their final product for themselves. So no two are going to look the same. Somebody might want to make a podcast. Somebody might want to make a digital poster. Someone might want an oral presentation with a PowerPoint. So their end products are all going to look different, but I'm going to have them do many things that they can combine, use, get rid of if they don't like, that will hopefully by the end, all they have to do is put it together. So every little bit kind of comes together into a final piece. And the final thing that I wanted to just show real quick, the standards and objectives that I'll be using for this, because I haven't created my rubrics quite yet. That's what I'll be planning on doing this week, my directions, my rubrics, all that stuff, my examples. I plan on using the ELA standards for production and distributive writing, research to build, present knowledge, presentation of knowledge and ideas, comprehension and collaboration, and then integration of knowledge and ideas as well. With that, my end goal is to also probably cut down a few of these standards and include some of the ISTE standards, the science-based standards, because they're not just doing English. I am an English teacher, but they're also including science-based standards. So I think using these and the ISTE standards for their final grade would be beneficial to them, and also show exactly how students are learning and performing. I hope that kind of explained a bit about where I'm thinking about going with this project, as well as the work that I plan on my students doing throughout it. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope the rest of your summer goes well.